Hello there. Did not see you there. Well, I suppose it's time for another classy gamer review of a recent video game. And today I would like to talk about one of the new 3DS games, Kid Icarus Uprising. Now, first of all, I would like you to understand that this game is bloody amazing. Yes, that is right. Amazing. Not amazing, not whatever it is that you kids say these days, but amazing. And the reason for that is that it is simply a great game. It is very top notch. Now, the reason that it is so enjoyable, there are many factors. It is a bit difficult for me to explain. I shall try, however. Now, before we begin getting to the game itself, well, it is to a certain extent regarding the game itself, but it has more to do with the fan base and the initial reaction to the game. Now, I understand that many people had problems with the controls for this game, and it was notorious for being harmful to one's hands after playing it for extended periods of time. And it even came packaged with a stand that was supposed to help one play the game. However, as I played the game, I personally had no problems whatsoever with the controls. They were not difficult to even to get used to. Right away I found them quite fluid and very well done. Even in the flying segments, the on-foot segments, all of them were very easily controlled and very nice. Contrary to my expectations, I was pleasantly surprised by the control of this game. Now, the one complaint I have with this game is not really a complaint, but essentially the characters never stop talking. Now, it would be much worse if the voice acting was horrible, but surprisingly, this game has fairly decent voice acting. It's not quite movie style, but it is quite good, relatively. Some of the characters have sort of annoying voices. Particularly the first one that comes to mind is Viridi, the goddess of nature. But Pitt has a good voice actor. He is intended to be a sort of boyish character, and his voice actor pulls that off quite well. And the other voices are very good for the most part. In particular, Hades. He has probably one of the best voice actors I have heard in a video game ever. At least as far as fitting the character. And so now let's talk about the gameplay. Essentially, you are Pitt, obviously, since it is in fact a Kid Icarus game, and you fight using various weapons, and there are several types of weapons between clubs, hammers, arms, palms, bows, that sort of thing. But I don't know. They have different stats. Each weapon has different stats. Oh, and the fusion system, where you fuse the weapons together to create new ones, is very well implemented. In fact, I actually enjoyed buying new weapons and fusing them together to create better ones. My only complaint regarding that is that the weapons are bloody expensive. You have to save up your hearts in order to buy weapons, at least any good weapons. All the ones that are lower than, say, 10,000 are just garbage. Now, back to the gameplay. The weapons do not have a whole lot of difference from one another regarding their actual execution of their attacks. They all have two modes. They fire ranged shots, and they have melee strikes. And all of them have that, no matter what they are. Even your clubs will fire and also can be used for melee. Now, they have different general stat trends depending on what kind of weapon they are. So clubs will have better melee attacks, while bows will have better ranged attacks. So, now, and the controls really are very, very fluid, and I had few problems with any. There are two modes of gameplay. As I mentioned before, there are the on-foot segments and there are the flight segments, and both are very well executed, well done. The on-foot is somewhat reminiscent of the Legend of Zelda 3D games, sort of controls. You can move the camera, and it's fully 3D environments. Oh, the graphics are amazing in this game, by the way. Even the character models have a lot of attention given to them. The environments are beautiful and very pleasing to look at. This is one game where if you can stand to have the 3D on for more than 5 minutes at a time, then you will want to view it in 3D. Now, let me see, where was I? Regarding the, I keep on straying away from the gameplay, but there's so many good things to talk about in this game. The flying sections are also very well done. They're reminiscent of Star Fox, and actually, I heard a rumor, I believe, that this was originally meant to be a Star Fox game, and then it was changed in mid-production. I could be wrong, but I believe I heard that. And the flying sections are quite well done. It's just on rails, so you cannot fly wherever you wish, but there is still a lot of challenge, and it still does feel like you have a lot of freedom within the rails on which you are tied. That was not a good metaphor. But in any case, so let us talk about now the audio. I have already discussed the voice actors, and the rest of the audio is quite simply bloody amazing, just like the rest of the game. The music is great. The sound effects are nice. They fit in with the game quite well. I have no complaints there. In fact, as soon as I'm done doing this, I will go and download the soundtrack for this, because it is that good. It is very good. The ambient tracks are they fit in with their respective scenes quite well, and they give it the atmosphere either of excitement or of adventure, or it is good. Trust me on this. Now, finally, let us come to the story. It is your basic Kid Icarus game, at least in the beginning. Now, warning, there will be spoilers at this point. There will, yes. Now, it begins as Medusa has returned after 25 years of being quite simply dead, and has begun to invade once more. And so you are Pit the Angel, and you are sent by the goddess of light, Palutena, to combat Medusa's forces. It is very similar to the other games, in particular the one on the Game Boy. I believe that was called Pit's Adventure. But in any case, it is similar to that, and it follows the same basic format. At first, for the first, I believe, 9 chapters or so, and then after you defeat Medusa in a climatic battle, you will discover that you are not even halfway done with the game, because, spoilers, by the way, the true villain of the game, Hades, Lord of the Underworld, also ripped directly out of Greek mythology, will reveal himself to you for some reason. Not that I think about it, I cannot think why beyond taunting you, but he will reveal himself and he will take command of the forces of the underworld, and you will have to fight him. And in between there are many subplots, and there are lots of good characters that were not in any other games of the series before. In particular, there is a subplot with a human named Magnus, who, by the way, is a badass. With his, he has a giant sword that would almost put Cloud's sword to shame. But he aids you on your on a few quests. At one point, in one mission, you are able to play as him, and there are several other characters as well, such as Neptune makes an appearance in one chapter. There are other minor gods and goddesses. I mentioned Viridi, the goddess of nature, who strangely is not taken out of Greek mythology, although her name is derived from a Latin root for verdance, liveliness, that sort of thing. So it fits her. Actually, most of the gods' names do. You also encounter. There are just so many of them; it's impossible to name in one and talk about each of them in one review. But they're very colorful characters. They're very diverse, and they're well fleshed out. A lot of them have a lot more depth than they could have had. They could have simply been one-dimensional characters that were used once for one purpose in the plot and then never used again, but they were not. They were quite fleshed out, even the ones that were only there for a single mission. It has a very, as I said, it has a very diverse cast. I have absolutely no complaints there. Let me see. The bosses are something I would expect out of, say, a Kingdom Hearts or Final Fantasy game. There is Cerberus, the three-headed dog of Greek mythology, who is now apparently on fire, and there is the Phoenix, which is one of the more annoying boss fights, but his appearances, the design for the bosses are quite spectacular. They put a lot of effort into designing these bosses, and even the regular monsters have quite a lot of thought into them. As you go through the game, you'll collect trophies, some of which will detail the monsters, and they contain surprisingly I don't know if that is the correct word, but amount of information about these monsters that can that lets you know that the designers did put a lot of thought into them and their backstories and their physiology even. And overall, the game is very, very well polished, well put together, and I do not know what any of you were talking about when you mentioned the poor controls. Fine for me. In any case, it is a wonderful game. I would recommend it to anyone. There is no excuse for not playing this game. It is simply heavenly. Now, this is your classy gamer saying, what do I say? Farewell and good night.